Hi everyone, in this video I'll finish up this chapter on solving quadratic equations by factorization, chapter 5 worksheet 1. Okay, so I'm now on page 7. How do we solve quadratic equations in the form whereby I have something times something, and now this is not equals to 0 anymore but a certain number. So for example, let's say I have this quadratic equation over here. Okay, I have x times x plus 6 equals to negative 5. Note that in this case over here, I cannot use the zero product rule anymore. If you still remember what is the zero product rule, so we covered the zero product rule, and the zero product rule states that if I have something times something equals to 0, either x plus 9 is equal to 0 or x minus 5 is equal to 0. This is the zero product rule. Okay, but now, if my right hand side of the equation is no longer 0 but any number, I cannot use the zero product rule anymore, meaning that I cannot say that from here. I cannot write x equals to negative 5 or x plus 6 equals to negative 5, because this doesn't make sense anymore. Okay, because this number can have different factors and these numbers can have different factors that can lead to this answer over here. Whereas for if it is something times something is equal to 0, we know confirm either one of the factors must be equal to 0. Okay, so please take note of this. When I have something times something not equal to 0 anymore, I cannot write x. One factor is either equals to negative 5 or the other factor is equals to negative 5. There is no rule for such. Okay, so if then the next question is, if like that, then how? So what you should do is to expand out everything here. Bring this negative 5, add 5 to both sides of the equation to get this form over here, x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals to 0. Then once I make the right hand side of the equation 0, my next step is to factorize the left hand side. Once I factorize the left hand side here, I'll get this form here, x plus 1 times x plus 5 equals to 0. Then this means that I have x plus 1 equals to 0 or x plus 5 equals to 0. Okay, so I hope you are clear. When the right hand side of the equation is not 0, I cannot write like this, a zero product rule. I must first expand out everything, shift all the terms on the right side to the left side of the equation. Then once the right side is 0, I factorize, then I can use the zero product rule. So let's visualize and understand what this means. Let's now look at example 3a. Okay, for example 3a, I have this thing over here. X times x plus 9 equals to negative 14. So my first step, expand first. I expand the left side, I hope you still remember how to expand. I distribute x over here. This will be x squared plus 9x equals to negative 14. Then I want to make the right side 0, so I'll add 14 to both sides of the equation. X squared plus 9x plus 14, and this is equal to 0. Okay, then once I have done that, now I need to factorize this quadratic expression here. You should remember either your cross method or the tic-tac-toe. Let's draw the multiplication frame or the tic-tac-toe here to factorize this quadratic expression. Okay, so over here I have x squared and 14. Okay, so I want to get 9x. I can see that I can use 2 and 7. Then this will be 2x and 7x. And these two add together will give me 9x. So therefore, the factors are such. Based on this multiplication frame, I know that the two factors are x plus 2 times x plus 7. This whole thing is equal to 0. Now, I have something times something equals to 0. I can now apply the zero product rule. Therefore, this means that x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x plus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, then I can solve for x. X equals to negative 2 or x equals to negative 7. Okay, and this is for part A. Alright, so now let's look at part B now. Part B over here. You can pause this video and try this by yourself. Once done, you can continue this video to see how we solve this. The steps are the same as part A. Okay, so over here, I note that right side is not 0. Cannot apply zero product rule. My first step is to expand out everything, and make the right side 0. So over here, I'll get 12y squared plus 8y equals to 15. I subtract 15 on both sides of the equation. I'll get 12y squared plus 8y minus 15 equals to 0. Okay, then from here, I want to factorize this quadratic expression. I use the multiplication frame. Okay, so over time, the more factorization you do, you should slowly start to see how to factorize this faster. I have 12y squared negative 15 times. Okay, so I can use y, maybe I can use 6 times 2. Okay, then 15, I have 3 times 5. And I want to get 8y. So maybe I'll put 5 here and a 3 that I check. I have 18y and 10y. I want to get 8y, so this should be 18y minus 10y. Okay, so therefore my factors are 6y minus 5 times 2y plus 3. Okay, and therefore from here, now I have something times something equals to 0 by factorization, and the right side of the equation is equal to 0. Now I can apply my zero product rule. 6y minus 5 is equal to 0, or 2y plus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, 6y is equal to 5, y equals to 5 over 6, or 2y equals to negative 3, y equals to negative 3 over 2. And that is your answer for part B. Okay? Alright, so let's now move on. Now I'm going to solve quadratic equations of this different form. So for example, so far when we have learned to solve quadratic expressions in the previous worksheet, in the previous section here, we know that we want to solve this whole equation, we must factorize the left side here, then we can solve by the zero product rule. Okay, now you will learn, we can also learn that we can square root. Okay, square root to solve equations. So what does that mean? So we look at the simple example first. Let's say if I have negative 2 square is equal to 4, 2 square is also equals to 4. So that means that if I have the problem is x squared equals to 4, how do I find x? The solution to this is that x is equal to plus minus square root 4. And I'll have plus minus 2. So what does this plus minus mean? It means that this answer here, 2, can be positive or negative. So you see over here, if x squared is equal to 4, x can be 2, x can also be negative 2. There are two answers to this equation over here. Two solutions. So therefore, over here, okay, we are now going to learn this new notation called plus minus. When I see plus minus, it means that this answer 2 can be positive or negative. Okay, so let's look at this simple example over here. If I have x plus 1 square equals to 4, if I want to get rid of a square, I will take square root. And whenever I take a square root of an unknown, this is an unknown number, I must have a plus minus square root 4. So therefore, x plus 1 is either equal to positive root 4, or x plus 1 is equal to negative root 4. Therefore, x is equal to root 4 minus 1, or x is equal to negative root 4 minus 1. Okay, and if I were to evaluate out, I know that root 4 is 2. Okay, so this is negative 2 minus 1. This is root 2 minus 1. I'll get 1 or 3, negative 3. Okay, so important note, whenever I square root an unknown, I must always include plus minus on the right side of the equation. Please highlight this, very important. When you square root, there should always be plus minus on the right side of the equation. Okay, so one more example. Let's say if I have one simple example, x squared equals to 9. The question says, solve for x. This means that I want to find x. To get rid of this square here, I will take square root on both sides of the equation. But when I take square root, I must have a plus minus square root 9. Therefore, this means that x is equal to plus minus square root 9 is 3. This means that x is equal to 3, or x is equal to negative 3. Okay? So I hope you can understand what is the meaning of this. Let's get one quick problem over here. Okay, thinking time. Okay, of this part of the worksheet. Let's expand the left hand side in this equation here. Left hand side, okay. If I were to expand the left hand side, this will be x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals to 4. Okay. Then from here, I'll get x squared plus 2x. I want to make the right side equals to 0. So I subtract 4 on both sides. So 1 minus 4 will become minus 3 equals to 0. Then in order to solve for this equation, remember how to solve this. Whenever I see a quadratic equation like this, I need to factorize the left hand side. Okay, now try by yourself. Factorize this expression. We know factorization, you can either use your tic-tac-toe or your cross method. Okay, so by factorization, let me write out the steps. I will get x squared and negative 3 times x. Okay, I will have 1 and 3, 3x, x. To get 2x, this will be minus. Okay, so therefore your answer should be x minus 1 times x plus 3 equals to 0. Therefore, x is equal to 1. Oh no, I don't make shortcut first. X minus 1 is equal to 0, or x plus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, x equals to 1 or x equals to negative 3. Okay, and so you can see there are different ways to solve this. In this part over here, to solve x plus 1 square equals to 4, I take square root on both sides. Then I solve this equation using the steps over here. I'll get x equals to 1 or x equals to negative 3. Meanwhile, for this part over here, instead of taking square root, I expand out the left side. I make the right side 0. Then I factorize the left hand side to solve. Answer is the same. Okay, so over here, you can see that x equals to 1 or x equals to negative 3 is a solution for this equation and also for this equation over here. So therefore, and you can see that how I get to this equation is that I expand out everything and I make the right side 0. Okay, so why is the solution the same? Is because these two equations, x plus 1 square equals to 4, this is the equation, and x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals to 0. These two equations are equivalent. Okay, these two equations are equivalent. We use this term called equivalent when the solution here for these two equations is the same. Okay, therefore they are equivalent. Okay, so now let's look at example 4 now on page number 9. Okay, let's look at example 4. It should be very simple. X squared equals to 0. X equals to, we square root both sides, this should be plus minus 0, but there is no such thing as plus or negative 0, so this is directly equals to 0. Okay, next part B. I have 2x minus 5, the whole thing square equals 49. Therefore, I want to get rid of the square. I take square root. 2x minus 5 is equal to, remember, when I take square of an unknown like this, right side should have plus minus square root 49. Okay, then I work it out step by step. 2x minus 5 equals to plus minus square root 49 is equal to 7. Okay, so therefore what does this mean? This means that 2x minus 5 is equal to positive 7, or 2x minus 5 is equal to negative 7. This is what the plus minus means. Okay, then I work out from each different equation. 2x is equal to 12, x is equal to 6, or 2x is equal to negative 7 plus 5, negative 2, x equals to negative 1. Okay, and this is for part B. Alright. Okay, you can now try part C by yourself. Part C is not a nice number, so you need to use our calculator. Okay. Okay, over here, let's look at part C now. Okay, the steps are the same. I have a square over here. Step 1, to get rid of the square, simply x plus 5.5 is equal to plus minus square root of 45 and 1 over 4. Okay? Then from here, what can I do next? Okay, this means that from here, x plus 5.5 is equal to positive square root 45 and 1 over 4, or x plus 5.5 is equal to negative square root of 45 and 1 over 4. Okay, so therefore from here I know that x is equal, on the left equation here first, okay, this equation here, x is simply equals to positive square root of 45 1 over 4 minus 5.5. Go and press your calculator, tell me what you get over here. Try by yourself first and round off your answer to the question here, say 3SF if it's not exact. Okay, go and press your calculator and round this number off. Okay, so therefore, okay, pause this video here first. Once done, then you continue playing this video. Okay, so if you press your calculator and round off correctly, you should get 1.23. Okay, this is to 3SF. Okay, and for the second part as well, x is equal to negative square root of 45 and 1/4 minus 5.5. Okay, so therefore x is equal to negative 12.2, 3SF. Okay, and this is for example 4. Okay. Okay, next one. Let's now move on to this thinking time over here. Okay, let's say if I have any number like this, consider this thing over here. Okay, let's just look at this simple equation here. X squared equals to negative 4. Do you think you can find any number that you square it and I'll get a negative number? You can try in your calculator. Can you find one number in your calculator? When I square it, I can get a negative number or even negative 4. Okay, so if you try pressing your calculator, right, you realize that it is impossible to get any number of x that when you square it, it becomes negative. Because even if I have a negative number, for example, negative 2. Okay, negative 2, if I apply negative 2, I square it, this means negative 2 times negative 2, it will become a positive number. So therefore, x squared can never be a negative number here. Okay, so therefore this is a no. Okay. So to ensure that we can solve such equations like x plus a equals to b, this number on the right side cannot be a negative number. It can be equals to 0, but it cannot be negative. So the right side number here, b, must be greater than or equals to 0. Okay. So for example, why is it equals to 0? If I have 0 square, this is equal to 0. Negative 1, the whole thing square. Press your calculator. If you press this in your calculator, right, you must put a bracket because this square applies to the whole negative 1. This is equal to 1. 1 square is also equals to 1. So therefore, the smallest value of x square, any number square, is always greater than or equals to 0. It can never be a negative number. Okay? Okay, so from here, let's now look at this part over here. This working over here claims 2 is equal to 1. If this claim is correct, your whole primary school and secondary school math will become invalid already because 2 is equal to 1. So let's look at what this person did. This person say, suppose x is equal to y. Then they multiply by x, so I get x squared equals to xy. Then I will subtract y squared from both sides of the equation. I'll get x squared minus y squared equals to xy minus y squared. You know that a squared minus b squared or x squared minus y squared is equal to x plus y times x minus y. Right side I factorize out the y. I'll get y times x minus y. Then this person divide by x minus y on both sides of the equation. They divide here so they cancel out on both sides of the equation. I get x plus y equals to y. Therefore, if I were to, I know that x is equal to y. I turn this into y. Y plus y equals to y. So 2y is equal to y. 2 is equal to 1 by dividing both sides of the equation by y. Can you find out what is wrong with this? You can pause the video to think. Once you thought about it, you can continue playing this video. Okay, so actually what is wrong in these given steps? So you see, over here the question here says, given that x is equal to y. Okay, so therefore this means that x minus y, what would this be equal to? Since x is equal to y, x minus y becomes 0. Okay, and when this question here says I divide an equation by 0, can you divide any number by 0? You go your calculator and you press, right, 2 divided by 0, 3 divided by 0. Any number divided by 0 is you'll get a math error and it's invalid. Because you cannot divide any number, any equation by 0. So therefore, the issue is that, therefore, we cannot divide both sides of the equation by x minus y, which is equal to 0. So that is the problem with this whole working over here, and that is why 2 cannot be equals to 1. Okay? Alright, so now let's look at the last few examples. Let's look at example 5. Okay? If x minus 2 is a solution to this equation, this means that if I submit x minus 2 here, this will satisfy this equation. Find the value of p. So very simply, since I know that x minus 2 is a solution of this equation, it means that if I submit x minus 2 here, this equation will work. Okay, so over here, all I need to do is simply, when x is equal to negative 2, okay, I replace all the x here by negative 2. I will get negative 2 square plus p times negative 2 plus 8 equals to 0. I'll get 4 minus 2p plus 8 equals to 0. Okay, I'll get from here negative 2p equals to negative 12. P equals to 6. Okay, and this is for part 1. Hence, find the other solution of this equation. What does solution mean? It means when I solve this quadratic equation, what is the x value? Okay, so over here, I know that p is equal to 6, so therefore, x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals to 0. Now I have a quadratic equation. I hope you still remember the steps. Make sure right side is 0. Factorize the left side here. Then apply the 0 product rule. So let's factorize this by my multiplication frame. I'll get x squared here and 8 times x and x. I'll get 4, 2. This is 4x and 2x. Add up together will be 6x. So therefore, x plus 4 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, x plus 4 is equal to 0, or x plus 2 is equal to 0. So therefore, x equals to negative 4, or x equals to negative 2. Okay? And that is your answer to part 2. And wait, we haven't answered it. The question here says other solution. So therefore, I know that one solution is negative 2 already here. Therefore, the other solution, we answer the question directly. The other solution is x equals to negative 4. Okay? Let's look at example 6, part 1 now. 6, part 1, solve this equation. So whenever the question says solve equation, the steps are always the same. Step 1, make sure right side is 0. Then now I factorize this. So by factorization, I use the multiplication frame, 3x squared and 8. Okay, then I check 3x times x, which factors will give me, so over here I should have maybe 4 and 2. This will be 4x and 6x. Okay, then I want to get negative 10. So to get negative 10, both must be minus, then minus 4x minus 6x. So therefore, over here, I'll get 3x minus 4 times x minus 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, 3x minus 4 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, 3x is equal to 4, x equals to 4 over 3, x equals to 2. Okay, this is for part 1, solving this equation here. Okay. Then over here in part 2, the question here say hence. Hence means use the first part answer. I compare this equation here with this equation. Can you see what is the difference? I hope you can see that all the x here turn into y plus 1. All the x turn into y plus 1. So over here, all we need to do is that over here, replace what the equation is doing is that I'm replacing x by y plus 1 to get this equation. So therefore, over here, to solve this equation, replace x by y plus 1 in the solution. So I know that for the original equation, okay, when original equation is this one over here, okay, the solution is x equals to 4 over 3 and x equals to 2. Now instead of x, all my x turn into y plus 1. So therefore, very simple, your answer here will be, instead of x, I'll replace this x by y plus 1 is equal to 4 over 3, or the other solution, x equals to 2. I turn the x into y plus 1. Y plus 1 equals to 2. So I solve this. Y equals to 4 over 3 minus 1 equals to 1/3. Or y equals to 2 minus 1, which is 1. Okay, and that is your final answer to example 6. Okay. Alright, then let's now look at the last question. Explain why this equation has no real solution. So for this equation, I look at this. I see that based on this equation here, 16x squared is equal to negative 49 if I subtract 49 on both sides of the equation. Okay. I know that just from what I went through earlier, x squared, no matter what your x number is always greater than or equal to 0. And therefore, this means that 16x squared is always greater than or equals to 0 if I multiply by 16 to both sides of the inequality. Okay, I multiply by 16 to both sides of the inequality. 16x squared is always greater than or equals to 0. So therefore, over here, this means that 16x squared, can it ever be negative 49? I hope I see that it cannot be. 16x squared can never, okay, it can never be negative 49. So therefore, over here, the original equation, 16x squared plus 49 equals to 0. This has no answer. We call it has no real solution. There is no x number we can find that can satisfy this equation. Okay? Okay, and that is it for this whole worksheet.